Today I want to talk about stocks, the stock market, and Tai Lopez. Now, this is a introductory video to the topic, a beginner-friendly video, and all these things are interrelated. So, if you guys don't know who Tai Lopez is, I've done a video on him already, and I promise this is the last one. But if you guys don't know, he has his own YouTube channel, and he talks a lot about success and pretty much how he made his money and how you can make his money too. A lot of people have called him a get-rich-quick scam artist, and he's gained a lot of his following from paid traffic. Having said that, though, he has a lot of money to spend, and he pretty much has this cycle where he pays for advertisement. It goes to something that, he sells to people, and then he spends more. And here's the thing. Lately, he's been, in my opinion, overstepping and talking about stocks and the stock market. Now, is Tai Lopez a completely bad guy? No, I think, him compared to the Kardashians, like, you're probably much better off listening to him, watching his videos, because he does teach educational content. However, lately he's been overstepping and talking a lot about the stock market, which guided me to do this video and warn you a bit about the stock market. Now, I've spent a good deal of time, a good phase of my life, learning a lot about the stock market from some of the best stock market investors of all time. Warren Buffett, John Templeton, Peter Lynch, I read all his books. The list goes on and on. And the thing is, he's starting to talk about trends and buying stocks and, spotting trends and buying a stock and then the next day making $1 billion. The thing is, I need to warn people about the stock market because unfortunately it's not a game for people to dabble in. It's not something for amateurs to do. And for me, for someone who, I won't claim I'm some sort of superhero at the stock market, but I know enough about it. And the thing is, people like Warren Buffett and Peter Lynch, they made the most money in history in the stock market by looking at stocks as pieces of ownership in businesses that they will buy and hold for the long term. Not, ticker symbols or stuff that you jump in and out of every single day. They bought companies like Coca-Cola, Geico, companies that they could thoroughly understand. Peter Lynch, John Templeton, same thing. And there's a lot of others. They bought durable, competitive companies with great competitive advantages that they could understand, that anyone could understand. Gillette, these are companies that everyone really knew about. Peter Lynch, he bought a perfume company that he spotted at the mall. He said his best market research is just walking through the mall. Now, I've read more books about the stock market than I think 99% of people on earth. And unfortunately, I think the thing is that a lot of people who are just average Joes, they don't know a lot about this. And it seems what's happening is that they're too easily dazzled or hyped up by people talking about the stock market. And since they don't know much about it, they're like, oh my goodness, I could just buy this stock and make $1 billion. It's not exactly how it works. And no one's made $1 billion just buying a stock, jumping in and out of the market. And it's funny because a lot of these people who are these like hyper traders and they look at these trends and they just follow the ticker symbols and the signs and the computers, none of them are really known. Sure, some of them have made $1 million here and there, but a lot of these people have never made billions because they don't treat it as an actual business. They don't treat these things as actual long-term marriages to these companies. They don't treat these as actual businesses. They just look at these things as symbols or numbers. And, recently I saw on Instagram similar stuff. I saw this guy, he had hundreds of thousands of followers, and each of his photos were all these bags of cash. And I recently saw this guy on Instagram, and he had hundreds of thousands of followers, and every post of his was him in an exotic location with big bags of cash. And basically, every other post he'd say, check out my website. And then from there, he would, pretty much sell people on membership courses on how he made the money technical trading. Now, he's probably made like $1 million, $2 million tops. And most likely, and I've heard how they do this, oftentimes what they'll do is they'll withdraw the cash from the bank, and after they take the picture, they'll deposit it back in. It's sort of a Ponzi scheme or a pyramid scheme type thing. And it just sucks because there's a lot of naive people who fall for this type of stuff. And, they'll do all sorts of tactics, like they will glorify the winners. So maybe 1 in 100 people will make some money, and they'll use these people as testimonials. And then the other 99, he'll just push under a rug. So is Ty Lopez a completely bad guy? No, I don't think so. I think you probably learn a lot more watching him than watching the Kardashians. Do I think he's maybe overstepping his, circle of competence? It's a concept that Warren Buffett talks about a lot, which pretty much means defining what you're knowledgeable in and what you're not. I think so. He's starting to stretch into, thinking he's really good at a lot of things that maybe he's not so good at. And I think what it's starting to do a bit is, mislead young people who don't know any better. I think all the people who know a bit about the stock market, like from the stock market niche or the stock market forums or communities out there, they're like, if they were to see his video, they'd be like, okay, whatever, but for others, not so much, especially people who are just young and don't know any better. As far as the, technical traders, heck, they're still doing their thing. They probably would disagree with me. So again, this is a huge thing, and I don't think I can mitigate a ton, but perhaps it may discourage a few of you guys from, playing around too much with this. It's a risky business, and you can lose a lot of money. And it's not something that you could just dabble in. People like do this for a living full time. And I mean, if you look at Warren Buffett, he was a prodigy. He started learning this when he was 11. And he started doing all the charts and technical stuff, but he was really floundering around and didn't make any money until he met his mentor in business school, Benjamin Graham. And then he learned a specific way of investing that he does now, the type that I've talked to you guys about. Now, the final thing I want to talk about is a gamer. So this guy's name's GBay99, and he has a prominent gamer YouTube channel. And about a year ago, he did one of these videos where he said, he made a decent amount of money, and he started looking into personal finance and preserving that money and growing it. And I'm like, oh, this is stuff I learn about too. Not a lot of people do. It's a very mature, smart thing to do. And I'm like, this is good, this is good. Then he starts talking about how he found his way into the stock market, and now he's reading stock market forums, and he just, spent a lot of money on this one stock. And then he starts bragging about how he made like 35% on the stock in a humble bragging type way. And that's when the red flags just went off. Because I'm like, oh my goodness. Because it's a clear example of how, newcomers, newbies, naive young people can get taken away. And sometimes the only way for them to learn is the hard way, for them to lose a lot of money. And for him, I think one big thing he didn't understand was short-term gains versus long-term gains. A lot of people are tricked by, bigger industries or their brokerage companies or whatever by these short-term gains. Oh, you can make 30% of your money in a day. What really matters is long-term gains. I mean, guess what? You're going to be alive for the next 30, 40, 50 years. You may have made 30% in that day, but you're probably going to lose 40% the next day. And then, your 1 year, your 5 year, your 10-year record is going to be like what? 5% per year if you're lucky. If you can do 15% gain per year and compound that out for 10, 20, 30 years, I mean, you're in the leagues of Warren Buffett. So when you say 35% gain in like a month, that's not going to translate to a year. That's not going to translate to 10 years, 50 years. So, there's so many. This is just one example of so many small things that can really just screw you over if you have no idea what you're doing in the stock market, or you think you do. There's a lot of this. You think you know what you're doing, but you really don't. So, you know, I feel like this video is kind of pointless in the fact that some of you guys are still going to do it, and you'll have to learn the hard way by losing a lot of money. Others, maybe you'll take some guidance and steer clear of this unless you want to make this your full-time living, your full-time passion, as some of the most successful people did in the world. I mean, Warren Buffett and Peter Lynch, both of them have claimed that they go to bed, dreaming and talking and, reading books about the stuff. They love it to that extent. So if you don't like it that much, you'd be hard pressed to compete with people who do it for a full-time basis. And even those who do, 80% of them underperform from what the market does. And again, I'm going on a detailed tangent that's getting a little too in-depth. But that's all I got to say in a nutshell. Thanks for watching. And, steer clear from these things. And it's kind of weird how these like mini Ponzi schemes kind of happen. Right now, I guarantee you, there's that guy on Instagram doing his thing. But at the end of the day, I feel like, I think ultimately, as Warren Buffett says, there's plenty of money to be made playing center court. So perhaps you will feel better and you will make more money if you're ethical, if you're doing a great job and you're loyal, and you just stick with what you know and you knock it out of the park. That's the whole message Warren Buffett has, and I think it's a great message. That's all I gotta say. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.